Beyond the Red House, where we turn trauma into triumph and pain into purpose. I'm Kayla Volturno, author of I Was Once the Girl in the Red House, and I believe in the power of authentic healing stories. This is a space where your voice matters, your story heals, and your journey inspires others to break their own cycles. Whether you're just beginning your healing or years into building your new life, you belong here. Let's explore what it means to move beyond the red houses that hurt us and build the lives we actually deserve. Welcome back to Beyond the Red House. Have you ever looked at your manuscript and felt a physical wave of defeat? You've read through what you've written and it feels vague. It jumps all over the place, the timeline doesn't flow, the themes are scattered. And even though you know there's a powerful message inside of you, even though you know your story matters and that what you've written so far just isn't capturing it, that feeling you're experiencing, that's what we call structural collapse of your narrative. And today, I want to talk about why that happens, what it costs you, and most importantly, how do I fix it, right? So let me start by saying this. The structural problem you're facing isn't a lack of writing skill. You can write, you have things to say, you have a story that deserves to be told. The problem is not your ability. It's that you're working without a clear structural boundary. And let me explain what I mean by that. When you sit down to write your trauma memoir without a clear boundary, without exactly knowing what this book is about, what its core purpose is, what themes you are exploring, you'll end up including everything. Every painful memory feels important. Every experience feels like it needs to be documented. Every emotion feels like it deserves space on the page. And the result is chaos. Emotional chaos for you as the writer because you're diving into every single painful memory without knowing if it actually serves the story. The structural chaos of your manuscript because without clear boundaries, you're creating a collection of memories rather than a cohesive narrative. My story took 10 years to write because I kept collapsing under the weight of my own unstructured draft. I could write 50 pages and then read it back and go, oh, what is this even about? Where's this going? What am I trying to say? And I couldn't even answer those questions because I never defined them in the first place. I was writing without boundaries. I was including every memory that felt significant without asking, does this memory serve the purpose of this book? And that lack of clarity kept me stuck for a decade. Now let me talk about what the structural collapse costs you, because the stakes here are real. First, it costs you time. When your draft is vague, messy, you spend months or years writing, reorganizing, starting over. You waste creative energy on drafts that don't work because they were never built on a solid foundation. And it costs you money. A vague, structurally unsound manuscript will require extensive developmental editing. You'll need to hire someone to help you figure out what your book is actually about, what stays, what goes, how to organize it into something coherent. That editing process can cost thousands, far more than investing in structure from the beginning. And then this is the most important one. It costs you emotional energy. When you're writing without boundaries, you're exposing yourself to every painful memory in your past without a clear reason to make it into the final book. You're spending your precious healing energy on a draft that doesn't have structural integrity. And here's what happens. You get exhausted, overwhelmed, you shut down, you stop writing for months, maybe years. Then you feel guilty about stopping, which makes it even harder to start writing again. And it feels like a chore. The structural collapse doesn't just compromise your manuscript, it compromises your well-being. And on top of all of that, a structurally unclear book is confusing for your reader. They can't follow through the timeline. They don't understand that message you're trying to document. And the powerful message you're trying to convey, it gets buried under the chaos. Your story deserves better than that. You deserve better than that. So let's talk about the fix. Let's talk about how to prevent structural collapse before it happens. The first most vital step in the trauma-informed publishing blueprint 90-day program is establishing absolute clarity about what your book is actually about. We don't jump into writing, we don't start drafting, we start with structure. In Pillar 1 of the blueprint, we work on what I call the structural boundary map, defining your no-go zones. That's where we create the defining statement, the singular, clear purpose of your story. This is not a vague statement. It's a specific, concrete declaration of what this book is about, what transformation it documents, what cycle it's breaking, and what's the message. For example, my defining statement for my book, I Was Once the Girl in the Red House, was the story of how I am breaking the cycles of emotional abuse by going no contact with my mother and consciously choosing to parent differently. That one statement gave me clarity about everything. It showed me what memories to include, the ones that showed the abuse, the ones that showed my decision to go no contact, the ones that showed me breaking the cycle as a parent, and what memories to leave out, experiences that were painful that didn't serve my core purpose. The boundary map is not a prison, it's a powerful shield. When you define your no-go zones, those memories that don't serve this specific story's purpose, you protect yourself from that unnecessary emotional exposure. You're not avoiding the hard stuff. You're being strategic about which hard stuff goes into this book. This is about you being in control of your story instead of your story controlling you. When you know what exactly your book is about, you can make a clear decision about what to include and what to save for maybe another project. You're not paralyzed by trying to include everything. You're empowered by knowing exactly what serves your specific purpose. And here's something really important about structural clarity. It impacts the value of your book. If your message is structurally sound, clear, cohesive, purposeful, your book has high value. Readers will understand it, they'll connect with it, they'll feel transformed by it, and they'll recommend it to others who need to hear your message. But if your message collapses into chaos, if it's vague, scattered, unclear, your book loses its value. Not because your story doesn't matter, but because the reader can't access the power of your story through the confusion. The clarity provided by the structural boundary map is the key to creating a book that changes lives, including your own. When you have that clarity, writing becomes so much easier. You're not questioning every chapter. You're not wondering if you should include this memory or that one. You're not exhausting yourself by diving into the painful material that doesn't serve your purpose. You're writing with intention. You're writing with boundaries. You're writing with a clear map that guides every decision you make. That map doesn't just protect you. It elevates your work. It turns a collection of memories into a powerful, cohesive narrative that serves both you and your future readers. Now I want to address something directly. The investment in structure. If you want to spend the next year continuing to start and stop writing without boundaries, collapsing under the weight of the unstructural draft, burning out emotionally, deleting and restarting, the structural collapse will cost you far more than 90 days of a focused structural mentorship. It'll cost you years of your life, thousands in editing fees. It'll cost you emotional energy that you'll never get back. And most painfully, it might cost you your book entirely because you'll give up before you ever finish. In the Trauma-Informed Publishing Blueprint 90-Day Program, yes, it's an investment, but it's an investment in preventing that collapse. You're not paying for generic writing lessons. You're not paying for someone to tell you to just write or dig deeper into your feelings. You're paying for a proven map that protects your healing and energy while you work. You're paying for someone who's there by your side while you're doing this hardest thing of taking your story and turning it into something powerful. I am a person who's done this. I've spent 10 years stopping, starting. I know the pain that you feel writing this story. If anyone knows, it's me. And I'm here for you the entire time. You're investing in finishing your book in 90 days instead of struggling for another decade. You're investing in emotional safety while you write, in a manuscript that actually works, that's structurally sound and powerful. You're investing in a structure that's the most cost-effective, emotionally sustainable way to finish your book. It's the path that honors both your story and your well-being. Let's talk about your next steps. If you're ready for the structural integrity that gives your story power and value, if you're ready to stop collapsing under the weight of the unstructured draft and start building something solid, your next step is the Trauma-Informed Publishing Blueprint, the 90-day program. Enrollment is open now, and you have 2 ways of joining. It's always open. I have the link in the show notes. It'll save you years of struggle and thousands in editing fees later. Whenever you're ready to start, visit the link and learn more, or you could request a free clarity email if you have questions about whether or not this is a fit for you right now. And both are in the show notes. Here's what I want you to take away from today's episode. The reason your manuscript feels vague, overwhelming, isn't because your story doesn't matter or because you're not a good writer. It's because you're working without that structural boundary. You're building without a blueprint. You're trying to include everything instead of strategically choosing that serves your specific purpose. You're exhausting yourself emotionally by diving into memories without knowing if they're actually going to be part of your book. You could change that. You could choose structure. You could choose clarity. You can define your no-go zones. You can create your defining statement. You can build your structural boundary map. And when you do that, everything else becomes easier. Writing becomes clearer. Decisions become simpler. Your emotional energy is protected, and your manuscript transforms from a chaotic collection of memories into a powerful, cohesive narrative that serves both you and everyone who needs to hear your message. The structure's here. The map is ready. The only question is, are you ready to stop collapsing under the weight of chaos and start building with clarity? Your story deserves structural integrity. You deserve to write it with boundaries that protect you. And the readers who need your message deserve to receive it in a form that is clear, powerful, and transformative. Thank you for being here. I will see you on the next episode of Beyond the Red House. Your healing matters. Your story matters. And you matter. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Red House. If you have a story to share or want to connect, email me at hello@kaylavalterno.com. Visit kaylavalterno.com for my book and resources to support your healing journey. Everything will be in the show notes. Keep building beyond whatever tried to break you. You are stronger than you know. This is Beyond the Red House.